Okay, welcome everyone. We tried to go live, but we kept getting connection issues. So this is recorded. You cannot post your comments live, but please watch it and email me your questions or post your questions on Facebook, and I'll be happy to answer. Welcome to the Dallas Garden, vegetable garden at the Dallas Center. Today I'm going to show you around my vegetable garden and show you the transition between spring plants and fall plants and show you what I'm doing and what's the plan for the rest of the season. Today is October 7, beautiful day, still wearing t-shirts in Texas. If you've seen my previous recordings, this is my pepper variety trial that I started in the spring. We've harvested many times. Some varieties like this Thai Dragon is still bearing. Looks like it's a late season. It's a long season, temperate, tropical, not temperate, a tropical plant. So it takes forever. We've harvested many times, but you see it still has a lot of green fruits. So others like this one here, Corno di Toro, all you see are red fruits and small size, meaning they're being affected by the weather and they've already spent their energy. Of course, I stopped the fertilizer. That's why the plants look a little bit yellowish. No need to fertilize anymore if towards the end of the season. Now, for those of you who don't know, pepper is a perennial plant. Only commercial growers, and we learned that from them, that hey, plant it every year from seed. As a hobbyist, as a home gardener, especially if you have a high tunnel or a glass house or an area where you can protect your plant from the cold winter, you can dig up the plant, pot it over the winter, and then pot it outside so it continue growing. So, and that's the plan this year for this variety trial. Between these two beds, I have 17 different varieties in two beds. This bed has nine varieties. So 3 over there, 3 here, 3 here, and of course you can see by the size of the plant, by the color of the plant, by the shape of the leaves, that they are different varieties. I planted those 1 by 1 foot spacing, too close, but they do great. What I regret doing, and I will not do that again at that spacing if I do a variety trial. That 1 by 1 spacing works great when it's all the same variety. This way, they're all the same. You can harvest and not worry about where one plant starts and when the other plant ends. But when they're different varieties, I should have planted them or leave a gap in between them, space them out a little bit more. So that's what I don't like to do. Like you see here, the Thai Dragon is huge. It's shaded over the candy cane. That's narrow spacing is not a good idea when you're doing a variety trial. So we already dug up some plants, but let me show you briefly what I'm gonna do. I have a nice potting mix here that's called Turf Blend. It's really compost and sand combination, and we dug up a plant. Let's take this one or any big one. I mean, the bigger it is doesn't matter because we're gonna have to prune it. So what we are doing is if you're familiar with the concept of a bonsai plant, we are doing the same thing. We are repotting the plant. I have beautiful compost, so it's loose, but depending on your soil type, it may be a big ball here that's stuck together. I will trim it to about like 4-inch deep and 4-inch or 8-inch diameter, so it can fit in this hole here. But first I will prune it severely, because if I took down 80% of the roots, I want to take 80% of the top. Okay, so this is how the plant. So this big plant like that should end depending on the root here, should end something like this. Very small, very small plant to balance the top with the bottom. Otherwise, if you leave too many leaves with very few roots, and the roots already are damaged because you dug them up, the plant will be stressed and wilt and will never make it. Okay, so that plant is ready. Fill it with water, soak it a couple of times, because dry compost will take a while to wet. So soak it, water it, water it, water it until you're sure. Keep it over the winter. It will grow, it will flower, it will set fruits. When we are growing in our greenhouse, plenty of sun, nice warm weather. And in the spring, I dig it up and I plant it out again. So these two here, these two peppers that I have here are 2-year-olds. Those plants are 1-year-old. So these two are example of what you see there. These were planted last spring of 21, dug up in the fall of 21, grew them in the greenhouse over the winter, spring of 22, planted them out here, and we keep harvesting and harvesting. And now I'm gonna dig them up and take them. So ideally, I would love to have one day, if you stay with us, and God willing, I'll have a bed that I'll tell you, here are my 10-year-old peppers. My goal is to get 2 plants of each of those varieties and plant them, so each, I'll have 2 of each and grow them as my bonsai. This is also my basil that is 2-year-old. Did the same thing as I did with the peppers. They're doing great. The bumblebees are happy. Not bumblebees, regular bees, honeybees are happy. I always like to plant a basil in the vegetable garden. It smells nice, but it flowers so much and it attracts the bees and the pollinators for the rest of your vegetable garden. You don't need pollination for tomatoes or peppers, but in the spring, everything else like squash, cucumber, you need pollination. So here's my spring garden. We're done with it. We just need to take 2 plants of each variety to grow them over the winter. We'll dig those up, and then we'll add the new layer of compost and plant fall crops like you see here. This bed has 2 varieties of tomatoes that were planted outside about a month ago. I got nice transplants. Kudos to David Rodriguez from Bexar County. Thank you, David. He gave me the plants. So here are your, this is Tycoon, and this is Ruby Crush. I already have, can you zoom in? Can you show them the small grape tomatoes? So these will be ready. We already suckered them. We already pruned them. We ran the string 3 times, fertilized them once with triple 16, added the equivalent of 2 pounds of chicken litter per bed, 4x8 bed, and look how well they're doing. Okay, so this is my first time planting fall tomatoes, so I'm very excited. They love the warm days, cool nights. Reminds me of Michigan weather. That's why we used to have the best tomatoes over there. And this is how the chicken litter looks like. I mean, if you can incorporate it, it'll be fine. If not, every time it gets wet, it breaks down. This is not raw or fresh chicken litter. This is pressed and treated and steamed and compressed and made into pellets. The company is Viatrack. It's a great product. The chemical formulation is about 3-3-3. So 3% N, 3% phosphorus, 3% potassium, a good balance. You cannot go wrong by applying too much because it's a slow release. You cannot burn the plants. In this bed, I have my garlic variety trial. I have 4 different varieties of garlic, but in between, just to use the space, well, really to practice using the seeder, but also to use the space the idea is plant a long-term crop with a short-term crop. By the time the garlic is big and starts needing a lot of room, the radishes are out. Okay, so these needs another 3 weeks and they should be ready. So here's my garlic variety trial. Never step on the bed. Go around the bed. Never step on the bed. Garlic, tomato, pepper, onion, eggplant, sweet corn need a lot of fertilizer. They are heavy feeders. Okay, so I fertilized them twice already. I will fertilize them one more time, but in the spring I will fertilize them once or twice more, so I can get the biggest bulbs. And so the garlic you'll see with me over the next few months. The tomatoes will be gone over the winter, but over here the rest of the garden is the winter crop or the cool season crop. Shinjuku, white stem bok choy, chinchang, tatsoi, purple stem bok choy. You see, you heard of bok choy? If you haven't, you should. You should plant it in the garden. It's like cabbage, but a lot faster, a lot smaller, and different varieties, different shape. They look pretty. It's a cabbage variety. Why? Like in the space of this, I have plant one cabbage. Well, I have 12 plants, and I don't need to harvest all of it. If I take 1 or 2 leaves from each plant, that's a meal. If I take one of leaves, that's a meal, and then it's keep growing, and I can eat over many times. I mean, that commercially, like this will be considered ready. Baby bok choy, this will be considered ready for restaurants or stores. But I'm gonna keep harvesting one leaf, eat one leaf. Well, this is yellowish, I'll remove. But if I take one leaf, that's a meal, and it keeps growing. I planted them thick, so many of these are 2 or sometimes 3 plants that came in the cell when we transplanted them. So I may thin one altogether and then leave one to get to be regular size. Here I have onion chives that I brought in from the greenhouse hydroponic. This is a perennial crop, so they're just here to adapt, to grow over the winter, and then I'll find a more permanent place because I don't want it to be here. I'll make a special bed. And we have made this quick and dirty fence, and we planted some peas, shelling peas, and I seeded some onion here and here, 2 varieties of onion to grow, to make slips from them and then separate them and grow a spring onion crop. Again, more and more varieties you see here. This is daikon radish. This is another daikon radish, you know, the one with the long white root. You should consider eating that. It's milder, it's tastier, it takes a long term. So there's a beautiful combination. And I bought seeds of different daikon radish, but they're small. So I'm gonna seed them soon, and hopefully you'll see them in future classes to see and taste them. Well, see them. I'll taste them. Again, planting, beautiful combination, beautiful crops, beautiful spacing, and all that is done by eye. You know, like planted by ear. We did not set a ruler. With practice, you'll know that, hey, I want them 1 foot apart, this way and this way, and if you measure it, it's very close to 1 foot. This is the, and they look pretty, and well, maybe not here, the spacing look messed up, but otherwise it looks nice. What's this? I saw a lot of grasshoppers earlier, and I sprayed to control the grasshoppers, baby grasshoppers, you know, tiny green grasshoppers. I sprayed for those, but I also see a white butterfly flying around, and you've seen it in earlier videos. It lays the eggs of the cabbage worm. So I know I will have cabbage worms because I struggle with it on my kale, and the cabbage worm They love the cabbage family crops, like all the bok choys that I have here. So if you want to plant a fall garden, you want to worry about your aphids and about your cabbage worms. It seems like they come with them, with those two. I'm also doing a carrot variety trial. So we got the cedar, very Jang cedar, the Cadillac of cedars, where you could adjust the seeding and spacing and change the wheels, so you can put 1/2 inch apart or 1 inch apart. See here, I planted radish at the same time as I planted my carrots, and radish are up. But if you zoom in, if you come close, you'll see some of the radishes are starting to come up. So we should have a good crop. The trick with planting radish crop and success is you gotta keep that top inch moist. So and that's why I'm using this overhead sprinkler. I'm using this overhead sprinkler, and once a day or once every other day I try to run it for 10-20 minutes, whatever, to keep that top inch moist, because the seeds are small, they germinate quick, and if that top inch is dry, they die, and you wonder why you're having bad luck with your radishes, with your carrots, with your parsley, your cilantro. So you gotta keep wetting the surface until you see the first true leaf, and then that's when you can switch to drip irrigation. So if you can turn with me and see here, you see this side, this end is not getting water from that overhead sprinkler. You see how it's lighter color? So we'll have to adjust this sprinkler, because I want full germination. You see, so finally, I'd like to direct your attention to these 3 tunnels here that I'm gonna test for winter protection. They're not needed now, but I built them just to show you the different option. I bought these from Amazon. They come in different kinds. I like this one. This seems to be the sturdiest, and it comes in 4 pieces. 2 pieces that are straight and 2 pieces that are at 90-degree angle. And if you put them one way, it's wide and short, and if you flip it, then it's narrow and taller. So you have 2 options with that bed, but it's very firm. And with that, I'm using this fabric. That's the brand name is Agribon. Okay, see, this is the part. If you put it like this versus if you put it like that, then it's narrow. Anyway, it's not being used. This is a matted row cover. It comes in different thicknesses. See, this is the 1/2 ounce, very thin. It's great for light freezes, light frost, but not -10. Okay, so that's one of them that we're gonna use. This is just show and tell. They're not needed now. And again, here I planted different kinds of, remind me, what did we seed here? Arugulas. We seeded different kinds of arugulas. This is the arugula here. There's 2 rows of Chinese cabbage, and looks like they started to germinate there. And cilantro. We have 4 rows of cilantro, so those they haven't germinated yet, and 2 rows of Chinese cabbage, they started to germinate over there. Where you see, it's getting a little bit more moisture. This is still dry, that's why they haven't germinated yet. So we have to fix our irrigation, overhead sprinkler irrigation. This is another material. If you're gonna make tunnels a habit, you use it every year, then I suggest use this material. It's plastic, but it's perforated plastic. Do you see the holes? The holes are pre-punched. You buy this roll, it has the holes already punched. So when it's really cold and it's gonna freeze, you cover it, but you don't have to worry about removing the cover if next day is gonna reach 50 or 60, because it's not gonna overheat. the holes will vent the extra heat. It's too early now. I used it the other day just for test, and the temperature inside it reached 100. So definitely too early. When the air temperature was still 70, underneath that plastic was 100. It's too early now, but when we in November, December, when we're gonna have very cold temperature, we'll close it. And if the air temperature is 40 outside, inside I bet you is gonna be 55, 60. Even that 10 degree, 15 degree warmer will make a big difference to the plant. This is another type of fabric, batted row cover, but you see this is much thicker and much whiter, much thicker. So this is more like a freeze blanket instead of a frost blanket. Okay, so that blocks the light and keeps it warmer at lower temperature. Works great, but this is just show and tell. Hopefully we don't have to use them. So my favorite type of tunnel was that green one over there. My next favorite is this one here that came as a one piece with a string inside. So you just, you know, put it together and then install it where you want. And each kit comes with 6. But look what happened. So even that is not the best because this piece broke. So we'll have to cut this piece out and insert this here. So it's fixable. What's not fixable is my least favorite type of tunnel, which is similar to that white one over there, but this one is an each individual piece. Okay, so there's no wire inside to hold them together. So you'll just have to attach them here together and set it, and hopefully it will not open and snap. And we already lost one, because you see there's 5 hoops here. It came with 6. One of them broke, and then we lost that piece. It was probably shot 30 feet away. We don't know where it is. So this is my least favorite type. But anything is better than nothing. You can make it from PVC. Get, you know, if you get a 10-foot PVC and fold it, it'll give you a height the stall. So, and PVC will last you for years. Wherever it takes, protect your garden from those cold nights, really, really cold nights. They may tolerate it, but why you want to set them back, cover them. Or in case you plant your tomatoes in the spring a month early, which I'll plan on doing next spring, and I'll show that to you. Plant it a month early and cover it with that. Even in freezes or frost in March and April, my tomatoes are never gonna freeze under this perforated clear plastic. I hope you enjoyed my garden. It looks pretty. I'm not talking about the sweet potatoes. I have sweet potato here and another variety of sweet potato. All I can tell you is that, to my surprise, rabbits are not eating sweet potatoes, because I have some branches going out of through the fence to the outside, and I have them on video sniffing the leaves but leaving them. I thought rabbits were a big problem with sweet potatoes. Maybe Dallas rabbits don't like sweet potatoes. So anyway, that's my lesson for you. Span around, take a right and left picture, and with that, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.